the first church's cross is lit up at night. It acts like a lighthouse. Red neon. It's time for Petroglyph Beach.
The small one.
They dig garnets out of an outcropping. A garnet outcropping. To really see them, you have to put water on them. You got some fish swimming around here.
The exposure, so it's going to make it a little bit more visible to the naked eye and a lot more visible for your cameras, because the natural state of these petroglyphs is actually absolutely soaking wet. This random sunshine that we've gotten this week is pretty rare for us. So this first petroglyph that we're going to look at is a moiety symbol. Now, you've heard that word moiety at least once before while with Vidal. It is actually a French word that we used to say we borrowed, but at this point we've stolen it. And what it means is two halves of a whole, or two halves make a whole. Here in the center, and then off to the right you have the straight beak of a raven, one of the moieties, ye eighth. And off to the left, the hooked beak of the eagle, the ch'ak moiety. To be a fish crest symbol. Now, I say believed to be because, as you can see, the base of the rock here at the bottom has broken off. And in 1834, when that first Russian ship was coming through, they spotted the petroglyphs on our beaches. They came and looked at them, wrote down descriptions, and drew illustrations of the petroglyphs. And the oldest description and illustration of this petroglyph says that it was broken off at that time, which is 190 years ago. And due to the loss of our oral histories due to colonization, we no longer know what this may have looked like originally. Or the ulichan, hooligan, which is known as the candlestick fish, because salmon was our staple food. And cultural and historical information. So for me, this petroglyph is probably the most important on the beach. And the reason for that is because this is a human face. And not just any old human face. It has a very distinct feature which makes it so important. So you have the eyes, the nose, the mouth, and then this little divot right here, which is what's so important about this. So that little divot could be one of two separate things. The first is it could be a tongue sticking out. And if it is a tongue sticking out, then this would represent one of the icht, our shamans. Because in our culture, as well as the surrounding tribes, if you ever see a depiction of a human face, and so if this does represent a shaman, then that would lend a lot of weight to the theory that these are shamanic carvings taken as slave, which we're not really supposed to stay anymore because we do want to leave that in our past. What it translated to was the one who carries my water, because water is such an abundant resource that it was seen as the most menial, low task a person could do. And so if you survived those 8 years, really the only thing that could kill you was the fact that we did practice human sacrifice occasionally. And of course, the first to be sacrificed would be the lowest on the social hierarchy. All of our copper came from the Copper River Delta up near Yakutat, which is about 350 miles away from this island specifically. And today we do try and follow the traditional practices of the value of copper. So for silver bracelets, it's fine if you want to buy one of those yourself. That's acceptable. But for copper, it doesn't have the same value if you buy it yourself. It has to be something gifted to you. So this bracelet I got from my mother. These earrings I got at ceremony last year. These are gifts which give them value. Otherwise, copper today, it's just copper. That hung from his nose and covered the entire lower half of his face, he would be next in line to be the clan leader. And it wouldn't be his father who was the current clan leader, it would be his maternal uncle, his mother's brother. Side is a sunstar. Now, sunstars are a species of starfish that can grow up to about 2 feet wide and have up to 60 arms, legs, whatever you want to call them. That scientists would try and use is algae fossilization growth. Now, as you look at all of these rocks that I've shown you, the sunstar does not face the sky. Instead, it's being eroded by the sandpaper-like qualities of the ocean as the waves come up and feed into it.
This particular flattish area is where the ancestors thousands of years ago would have drag their long wooden canoe up. And they said usually there are big rocks around an area that they use for mooring canoes that show where the rocks over centuries and centuries and centuries wore away the rock. This is a replica up here, so if you wanted to do a rubbing, you could do it.
Oh no, the buses are just picking up my final group.
Well, let's wander the streets of Wrangell. Moose. Moosey. Bullwinkle the moose. Ooh, this may be good for hanging a puppet. How about that? Canoe, lagoon, oysters, this town shucks. Ahoy there, matey. There's definitely not much to see in Wrangell. The Bear Totem Store. They sell everything in here, that's for sure. I helped support the local economy in Wrangell because these hooks, settled on an orca, are made by high schoolers in their shop class. They're hauling up the tender and getting ready to depart Wrangell. Tomorrow will be Zodiac cruising, I think, in Misty Bay or Misty Fjord, Misty something. Bye-bye, tender.